Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah. Call Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakah Kodash for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwaf that's keeping the faith in the works. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abai coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 1 says, For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. That's what we're witnessing now. The Most High bringing us out of another captivity, out of the final captivity, really. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. All right, this thing that's going on is holy. It's of the Lord. All right, it's for amendment. All right, and you see the title on the screen. Dude had a speech, and that's what he said it is. And honestly, that's what it is. Right? That's why there's no avoiding this. They can try to, hold it out for as long as they can, but at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? How about you outside Ratazah? I mean, the Most High willing, this the last war. This whoa right here. Right? So I'm gonna let this sound bite play because I'm not too sure about this channel. The name of the channel called First Post. If you want to go in there and watch content. She got some pretty good content on there. But like I said, I'm gonna let this sound bite play, and I'll be back.
As expected, Russia claims that the results came out in resounding support for itself. Now was the time for Putin to act on these results. On Friday, Vladimir Putin formally announced the annexation of 4 Ukrainian regions: Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia. That's about 15% of Ukraine's total landmass, which Russia now claims to be its own. It does not matter whether the United States and its allies recognize the annexation or not. Russia has said that it will protect its new territories using nuclear weapons, and that pretty much ends the story right there. But that's not all Russia said. On Friday, Vladimir Putin made a blistering attack at the West. Russia has been economically decimated by sanctions, right? That's what you were told. Or maybe that Putin is facing threats to his authority and might be booted out as president of Russia. There's plenty of those theories doing the rounds as well. Russians do not like Putin, and they hate the war in Ukraine. You've probably heard that too. Well, here's how Vladimir Putin organized a gala event to celebrate the annexation of Ukraine. Notice how the people cheer for him. Does that look like a population which dislikes Putin? Not really. The Russian president fulminated on Friday. It was almost as if he was ready to wage a war against his enemies alone. After signing the annexation treaties, Putin said that Russia is ready for talks with Ukraine, but, and I quote, will defend our land with all the powers and means at our disposal. The Russian president said that the US is the only country in the world that has twice used nuclear weapons, destroying Japan's Hiroshima and Nagasaki cities. Here it's important to note that Putin said that the United States has set a precedent for using nuclear weapons. A precedent Putin seems inclined to follow. Putin said, even today, the US actually occupies Germany, Japan, the Republic of Korea, and other countries, and at the same time cynically calls them allies of equal standing. Breaking up the West's colonial past, Putin said, the West began its colonial policy back in the Middle Ages, and then followed the slave trade, the genocide of Indian tribes in America, the plunder of India, of Africa, the wars of England and France against China. He added, what they did was hooking entire nations on drugs, deliberately exterminate entire ethnic groups. For the sake of land and resources, they hunted people like animals. This is contrary to the very nature of man, truth, freedom, and justice. Putin said that residents in the 4 annexed regions will now be Russia's citizens forever. He also accused the West of attacking the Nord Stream pipelines. Putin also portrayed his war as a holy war against the West. He accused the West of teaching sexual deviation to children who were encouraged to change their gender, saying, "We're fighting for historical Russia to protect our children and grandchildren from this experiment to change their souls." Putin also claimed that the West was moving toward open Satanism. He said, "This complete renunciation of what it means to be human, the overthrow of faith and traditional values, and the suppression of freedom are coming to resemble a religion in reverse, a pure Satanism." Towards the climax of his speech, Putin said, "The destruction of the Western hegemony is irreversible." What do you think the West will make out of this blistering attack by the Russian president? And do you think Ukraine has indeed lost its territories forever?
Right. So, as you heard, I hope you did, Putin basically put the daughter of Babylon on blast for their past, for their present, and the things that they plan on doing in the future. Spoke on how the daughter of Babylon, tried to eradicate the so-called Native American tribes, how they plundered, so-called Africa and, stole us and, had the major hand in the slave trade and called the war against the West a holy war because of the morals of the West. And that's Revelation 17 all day. The great whore that sitteth upon many waters, right? With whom the kings of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? It's a holy war, no doubt. But all these other nations are vying for their driver's seat spot, but they're not gonna get it because we up next, man. 2 Ezra 6:9 says that for Esau is the end of the world, or Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Right? It only speaks about 3 woes, not 4. Right? This the book of let me see, Revelation. Revelation chapter 20. And let me see. I want to start. Verse 7. It says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison." Right? That 1,000 years was expired after the Dark Ages. Right? You check history. Look up so-called blacks, royal crest. You'll see we ruled from Spain to Germany. Right? We ruled Italy, just all over in the East, all over in Europe. We ruled that for approximately 1,000 years, right? It says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations," and that's what this devil has been doing, right? After our rulership in Europe, then we became solely black, and then we went from being, solely black to Haitian, Jamaican, and wherever else we've been spread out across the world, right? It says, "Shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the 4 quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog," that's Russia, right? "To gather them together to battle." Going into what we just read in the book of Joel. This is what's going on. The Most High is gathering these nations for that final battle, right? And how we, even on the fact that this man is really going into the scriptures to validate the moves that he making, right? It's on some deceiving tip, no doubt, right? But at the end of the day, this devil is really speaking. He's speaking partial truth, because that's how the devil does. He throws some truth in it, but it's actually lies. This nigga talking about a holy war, but if he's talking about a real holy war, then he understands he really fighting for the end of his kingdom and his people's kingdom, period, and the beginning of ours, right? But in his mind, and all the minds of all the rest of the individuals that are running this earth. Job 9:24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They vying for control of a new world, a new digital world order. But it ain't gonna go like that. All right? It says, I'm going to read that again, Revelation 20:8, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. Right? But I just found it interesting that this devil really got exposed. He got put on blast for everything that he's done in the past and everything that he's doing now. Right? But this war that's coming up, this last war, is gonna be something different than any other war, right? It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 9 and verse 5. And I end with this. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Right? This war gonna be different than all the rest of them. And like I said, 2 Ezra 6:9 says Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So Most High willing, he go ahead and crank that war on up, and let them destroy each other, so that we can have our next. So with that, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Ratazah, these precepts in this video were edifying. Call Haloyim Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim Harakat Kodash Shalom Yashala.